Besides energy flow in an ecosystem, material cycling is also an important part of an ecosystem. It is a basic feature of an ecosystem to cycle materials between the physical environment and biotic community. There is a fixed amount of elements on Earth, such as carbon and nitrogen. These elements are not lost from the ecosystem when organisms respire, excrete, or die. They are changed to other forms, which will eventually enter the organism and becomes body material again. In studying material cycling in an ecosystem, there are two important cycles, the carbon cycle and the nitrogen cycle. Within the carbon cycle, carbon is transferred between trophic levels and decomposes. Carbon in producers in the form of organic matter is transferred to consumers at higher levels by feeding. Here from the diagram, you can see that the cow, which is the primary consumer, is feeding on the plants, which are the producers. Besides, organic matter in dead bodies or waste material of organism is used as food by decomposers. In this case, when the uneaten plants or the cow dies, or when it excretes organic wastes, all these materials will be decomposed. This will cause the return of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere and oceans. Carbon inside organic matter is changed into carbon dioxide and released into the atmosphere during respiration. Also, during the decomposition of organic matter by decomposers, carbon inside organic matter is converted into carbon dioxide. Dead bodies of organisms may turn into fossil fuels such as coal and oil. The carbon inside fossil fuels becomes carbon dioxide when the fuels are burnt. Furthermore, limestone in ocean floors, rivers, and streams contains carbonates. When carbonates react with acid in water, or when they are heated under high pressure during volcanic eruptions, carbon dioxide is also released. All these releases of gaseous form of carbon as carbon dioxide will cause the atmosphere to accumulate more and more carbon dioxide. Therefore, the carbon has to be recycled back into solid form. This can be done by removing the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and ocean by photosynthesis. The carbon eventually enters the food chain again as organic matter, mainly as carbohydrates. The carbon cycle is kept balanced if the rate of addition of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere and oceans is equal to the rate of removal of carbon dioxide by photosynthesis from the atmosphere and ocean. After talking about the carbon cycle, let's talk about another cycle called the nitrogen cycle. In the nitrogen cycle, nitrogen is first transferred between the trophic levels. Nitrogen in producers in the form of organic matter is transferred to consumers at different trophic levels by feeding. Then the nitrogen is returned to the soil. When decomposers break down organic wastes and the dead bodies of producers and consumers, the nitrogen inside these materials is converted into ammonium compounds. These compounds are turned into nitrates, which is then changed into nitrates by nitrifying bacteria. This process is called nitrification. The nitrates are released into the soil. Besides, free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria in the soil can convert nitrogen in soil air to ammonium compounds, which are stored in their bodies. This process is called nitrogen fixation. When nitrogen-fixing bacteria die, they are decomposed by decomposers. The ammonium compounds in the bacteria are released into the soil and converted to nitrates by nitrification. Some nitrogen-fixing bacteria are also present in the root nodules of leguminous plants. They can convert nitrogen gas in soil air to ammonium compounds, which are taken up by the leguminous plants for growth. The soil can further increase the nitrogen content by lightening turning nitrogen in the atmosphere into nitrogen oxides, which then dissolves in rainwater to form nitrates ions and rain down onto the soil. That being said, there are processes that removes the nitrogen from the soil. First, all the nitrate ions formed can be absorbed by plants to carry out protein synthesis. Furthermore, in poorly aerated soil, denitrifying bacteria changes nitrates in the soil into nitrogen gas. This process is called denitrification. Nitrogen gas then diffuses into the atmosphere. In an ecosystem, the nitrogen cycle is balanced when the rate of the addition of nitrogen-containing compounds to the soil equals the rate of removal of these compounds from the soil. We can see that the ecosystem is very important. Let's talk about how to conserve the ecosystem. The impact of human activities on the ecosystems. Humans obtain food, fuel, land, and many other resources from the environment. With rapid population growth in recent decades, the rate of resources exploitation has been increasing rapidly. Large amounts of waste are also produced. These have brought undesirable impacts on ecosystems. Human activities have destroyed habitats. In many parts of the world, large areas of forests are cleared for farmland or to obtain timber. New land is obtained by reclamation. These destroy the natural habitats of wildlife. The loss of habitat drastically reduces biodiversity. Human activities also causes overexploitation of resources. Many species are being overhunted for food or for the production of valuable products. This can lead to a rapid drop in the number of individuals of the species. Some species are in danger of extinction. Human activities also produces a lot of pollutants, which are substances that have undesirable effects on the environment. Let's talk about some of the pollutants and their effects. Sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides are major air pollutants. They are released during the burning of fossil fuels. Respiratory diseases in humans. They can also form acid rain when dissolved in the environment. Acid rain harms plants and aquatic animals. Industrial sewage may also contain toxic chemicals. When untreated sewage is discharged into the sea or rivers, the toxic chemicals may enter the bodies of organisms through feeding, causing poisoning in humans and other animals. Furthermore, human activities can cause global warming. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas that can trap heat on Earth and keep the Earth warm. In recent decades, the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is increasing because large amounts of fossil fuels are burnt to meet increasing energy needs for transport, industrial activities, or other purposes. And large areas of forests are cleared to obtain land or timber, so that the amount of carbon dioxide absorbed by plants is reduced. As carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases accumulate in the atmosphere, more heat is trapped on Earth and the global temperature increases. This is known as global warming. A possible adverse impact of global warming is the speeding up of the melting of icebergs in polar regions. Polar organisms may therefore lose their habitats. To protect the environment, we have to conserve the ecosystems. So how can we conserve ecosystems? Various environmental problems are threatening the quality of our lives and the welfare of future generations. In order to maintain a sustainable environment that ensures a continuous supply of resources for present and future generations, conservation is necessary. Conservation refers to the sensible use of natural resources in order to avoid excessive degradation of the environment. There are some principles involved in the conservation, including protection of natural habitats, for example by setting up conservation areas to protect wildlife, and protection of endangered species, for example by controlling the trade of endangered species, whether alive or their products. Furthermore, use of alternative energy sources such as solar power and wind power instead of fossil fuels. Good management of the use of natural resources, for example by setting up a fish moratorium to protect fishery resources. Last, reduction in the use of natural resources and waste products, for example by promoting recycling of waste material. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Click on the tab to watch the next part of the video series.